How's that?
Hello, Robin.
Hey, hey there, Emerson.
How are you?
Yeah, just fine. Good to
Great.
see you.
Good to see
Wow.
you too.
I want to tell you, I can't believe this. This is one of the biggest surprises of the year for me.
Oh, tell me.
Well, it was a present from my daughter,
Oh, beautiful.
and wait a minute, wait a minute, and okay, she only told me when yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought, no, couldn't be true. What a lovely present.
Oh, you have a
Yeah,
great daughter.
I have. Yes.
So tell me your story, yeah, Robin, and your
Oh
seeking
my,
story. Yeah.
oh my story. Well, I'm
Yeah.
88 years old,
Oh,
so I've
wow.
got one hell of a story.
Yeah, I would love to hear it.
Well, okay, let me cut it very tight.
Okay.
I was 30 years old, and I was living in Paris,
hmm
and because of a friend, I came across Krishnamurti.
hmm
You've heard
UG
of him?
or
No, no, no.
Jidu?
Jiddu.
Jidu.
Okay,
Okay.
you know him.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was like out of the blue, and I never knew anything about anything. My whole life revolved around other things,
hmm
things.
Yeah.
And he appeared, and it like changed everything in my day-to-day life because he was doing summer meetings in a little village in the mountains in Switzerland. And the first time I went to Switzerland,
hmm
I thought, wow, this is the most fantastic place I've ever been in my life. And actually, since 40 years, I'm living here in this village.
Oh, wow.
It's a strange story, huh?
Yeah.
So there we are. So Krishnamurti was part of my existence.
Yeah.
He's a very wise old man, he
hmm
was, and I love him for that. But he could only go so far. I don't know if you've read any of his
I
stuff.
have, yeah. I have both
Yeah.
Krishnamurtis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The other one I met up here too.
Oh, you
Act-
did?
Actually, I know both of them.
Wow.
Yeah. The Jiddu, I've I had a one-to-one, and I sat there and said nothing for 1 hour, and nor did he. Would you call that a one-to-one?
None to none.
Yeah, none to none. And then Yuji arrived up here,
hmm
and I became quite good pals with him.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
right.
They're
I
like
knew him. I
opposites.
knew him before, and I
They're
knew
like
him after.
opposites. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's great.
Right. So here I am living in this ex Krishnamurti place and having a completely different life. Okay. But Krishnamurti, he could only go so far, couldn't
Yeah.
he? Huh?
Yeah.
He was really good. He could say the right things,
hmm
but it was all very personal.
Yes. Yeah.
And one day, thank you, Emerson, I found out that what is personal doesn't really matter very much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We get caught up in it.
absolutely. Totally. Yeah. It's kind of it kind of takes us over.
Of
And
course.
would
Yeah.
you believe it?
It becomes the driving force, right? It's
Yeah, the emperor's beautiful clothes.
quite fantastic.
Yeah. Hey, I'd like to ask you something. I'll tell you about Krishnamurti. He was wise, huh?
Yeah.
And I was invited to lunch one day at a school he was just founding in England many years ago. And there was Krishnamurti, myself, and my wife, Dee Dee,
hmm
and four or five of the teachers that were going to start teaching. And he asked them a question. It was a test, of course. The question
Okay.
is this, and I'd like to hear your answer.
Yeah, for sure.
You're a teacher in a class,
Yeah.
and all the students are there, and you're ready to start teaching whatever. And However, you look outside the window, and there's a tree outside the window in the yard,
Yeah.
and up a tree is one of the students
Oh,
that should be in the class.
yeah.
And Krishnamurti's question to all these new young teachers
Yeah.
was, what do you do?
Absolutely nothing.
Nobody answered that.
Oh, really?
Everyone gave a different answer.
Okay.
Drag
First,
him inside, leave him up the tree, get all the other students outside into the tree.
okay. First, I would get off my teacher's chair and say
Yeah.
that I have nothing to teach. Oh.
Like that.
And rearrange the
Krishnamurti,
whole classroom into,
yeah,
so that everybody's sitting like in a circle, perhaps, so that there's no
oh,
one ahead, there's no one behind, right? So
around the tree, maybe even.
around a tree, yeah, yeah. And just say nothing.
Yeah,
Beautiful. Yeah. That's so awesome that you got to see. I had another 88-year-old that talked to me
yeah,
a
the
couple of
lady,
months ago.
I got
Jolene,
that one.
Jolene,
Yeah, she's
Jolene,
great.
Jolene.
Hey, Jolene, if you're there now, I love you.
Oh. Yeah, she also met a whole bunch of different people, like, Ramesh, and I can't remember the rest, but she's
Yeah,
done it all, right? So
yeah, right.
probably you've done it all, probably.
I've done it all too,
You've done it all. Yeah.
and I've met two or three, and yeah, but there you are. When you
Yeah.
get to be 100 years old, you do a lot of funny
Yeah.
things.
Well, even for my age, I have done so much
Yeah,
seeking, right?
yeah.
I've also did my pilgrimage to see all of the wise
Mm.
ones, right? And
Mm.
but you're right, you can only go so far.
The wise
They're
ones, yeah.
beautiful words,
Beautiful words, yeah,
wise words,
yeah.
and but the beautiful words get you strung along sometimes, and they um
I finished up chasing the words,
yeah, that's what I'm
and
saying. They just
I know a lot of them. I can quote you a
yeah,
lot of them. They're still there,
yeah,
but
beautiful
in
words
the
though. I
end,
love words, but I
you
also
got to,
see that the words are, what are they? Made up stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
E- even our words.
yeah,
I mean, all this stuff pouring out of our mouths.
yeah.
Are they words? I don't know.
I don't know too.
Like
No one
I
knows.
had a moment. It was a vipassana
Oh yeah, yeah,
moment,
yeah,
and we're all in this big room, all sitting on our whatever, cross-legged and whatever, as much as we could, and we were listening to a recorded talk of the guru.
Goenka.
Going, yeah,
I know them all for some odd reason.
okay, and the voice was coming out of this loudspeaker,
Hmm.
and I suddenly realized the sounds that were coming out were not words. I
Yeah,
realized there were no sounds.
yeah,
It was all crap
yes.
in a way, but sweet crap, you know? Nice fellow,
Sweet
nice
nothings.
people, but yeah, music with no
Yeah,
meaning to it.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, it was a lovely moment.
yeah. How did you find me? Your daughter booked this, but
Well,
how did you find my videos,
well,
I
I
guess?
guess through YouTube's of Tony. Actually, I've been to a couple of meetings at
With
Tony.
Tony as well, okay?
Yeah,
Which
and
Tony, Parsons or Muji?
Parsons,
Okay.
right? And there you are.
What
That's
happened there?
fun.
What happened at the Tony
Nothing,
meeting? Nothing.
absolutely nothing. No, no. I'm I must have gone. If you if you start off being absolutely awake as a child, and then it turns into ignorance, and
Yeah.
then you become less and less ignorant. I was watching Tony in more or less my ignorance stage
Yes.
when I
Yeah.
went to London to a couple
Yeah.
of his things. So it did nothing for me. Afterwards, a few years ago, it started
Yeah.
and it started to sink in a bit. but it was still something I was chasing.
Yeah, that's
What
what it
he
is.
was offering something, and I was after that. That's what
That's
I
right.
wanted. And of course, I never got it
Of course, yeah.
because what he was offering was
You can
dust
only
in
go
the
too
air.
far as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can only
And
go too
then
far with
you,
words,
I
right?
was watching you. You from the very beginning. You had sort of some series where you discussed with the masters,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? It was interesting too, but they were just words.
They're just words, yeah.
And then suddenly you changed,
Yes.
or whatever it was, changed.
Just
And these one-to-ones fascinated me. And then it dawned on me, and maybe even my daughter, I don't know.
yeah.
I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
That there's nothing to get. It's all here.
It
It
is.
was
It's
never
it,
anywhere else.
it's so amazing, right? Because there was this clarity even before, like a kind of like what you it's like innocence. And then the moment that I joined the non-duality circus, I guess there was a lot of ignorance, but innocent ignorance. You know what I'm saying? And
Sweet ignorance,
sweet, sweet ignorance.
but
And then
clever
so I just
ignorance too.
shifted
Yeah.
the angle a little bit
Mhm.
and just became more relatable and just was just hearing everybody saying that I'm depressed, that I'm dissociating. And I was like, okay, you know what? Am I speaking here just to sit on a pedestal again?
Mm.
A no me pedestal this time, right? Are people listening to my words and they're trying to get it? Are they
Yeah.
believing it?
Yes,
And I
they
think
were.
about 2 years, yeah, they were, and it was just, but there was this earnestness here to express something that cannot be expressed, although that's just another concept, right? Because,
Yeah.
um, but yeah,
It's all concepts. You
but
talk
I
in
did,
concepts, I talk in concepts.
everybody does, yeah,
Yeah, there's nothing
and
else.
and then the
But
one-on-one started kind of like almost. I did one-on-ones from the very beginning because
mm,
I did not really, I was a reluctant speaker. It was by accident. I was just on the sideline. I was just happy to spotlight everybody else, you know what I'm saying? And just be on the background, basically. Even my first interviews, I edited myself out, right? There was just this.
mm,
And then somehow the one-on-ones, and I was just talking to Marcin yesterday, and and he's doing the same thing that I'm doing now.
mm.
He's still working. He's still working, and
What country is he in?
he's from Poland. So he did a
Okay.
one-on-one with me before, and he had a
Okay. I
beautiful.
remember that. Yeah.
You remember? Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
And he actually came here to visit
yeah.
from Poland. He was doing something in Vegas, and he goes, "Why don't we hang out?" We hung out, and that when people clear up, when people sober up from all of the intoxication of words, right?
Mm,
It's probably one of the best, joys, right? It's like, okay, because this person's not going to suffer anymore from
yeah.
chasing words, right?
Yeah.
And it's such a gift just to
Mm,
see that. And I'm
yeah.
happy to, and that's what I was doing from the sideline, even from before. I was not
Yeah.
speaking, but I was doing one-on-ones on the side.
Yes.
And um and that just somehow took over, right? It just took over. And
It took you over too.
yeah, yeah. it,
And the
it's
amazing thing in your one-on-ones is when you started to do the between.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Now that between I'm sorry to have to say this, but it's a trick.
It is. It
Yeah,
is. It
but
is.
it's a beautiful trick,
It is.
and
Yeah.
it's a trick that works. It's like switching on the light at night to lighten up the room.
It
Right?
is. Yeah.
And it does. It lightens up the room.
Yeah.
The switch itself is
The
just a
switch,
little trick, a
it's that
gizmo.
switch. It's a
Yeah,
trick. And
yeah.
I was wondering, when I was doing one-on-ones before, because someone would say to me, "What did you say?" Like even before the in-betweens. And I'm like, and someone would say, "You said something about truth." And I'm like, I don't really say truth in my one-on-ones because I don't know what you said. So I started noticing, I'm like, oh, it's not the words that I say. It's when they get tricked, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Into coming into that spaciousness where nothing
Yes,
can be said really.
No.
And then you see the looking around and everything. It's a realization that there's nothing to realize.
Yes.
And then the thoughts try to come back. You know what I'm saying? Try to create this position or something happen, a claim, but it can't be claimed at the same time.
No.
Right. So so I just started doing that. There was this young guy that's been seeking for 10 years, and he helped me out, and his name is Brandon. And he said, why don't you call it instant? Because that's what it's honest, like it's happened. It's very instant. It's and then I'm like, okay. And that's when it popped up, I guess, like a lot of people started coming, and
okay.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, Robin. So what happened to you when you saw the video? Was there was it a quiet realization? Was it an unfolding?
Absolutely. No, there was fireworks, nothing. It was just so obvious. Actually, I was watching Muji for a few years.
Yeah.
And here's a trick.
Yeah.
Which is quite effective. You know his trick?
No, I did listen to Muji for quite a while.
It's similar, but he keeps using the word you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
He says, sit down, put down all your past and all your hopes.
Leave it behind. Yeah. Don't let it in the door, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And in a way that works, but then it vanishes again.
Yeah.
And then you say, where am I? What was that? And you're back in the real world.
That's right.
Again.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Nobody wants that.
No. And then you keep on going and going and going and
who wants
waiting
this
for
real
that?
world? The
Yeah.
real world, it's so unreal.
Yes.
But it's a joke. It's all a joke.
Yeah.
Who can take it seriously?
Yeah.
For 50, 60 years, I took it so seriously.
Oh, you did? Oh, no.
Oh, yes. I was a very serious person. And I led a serious life doing very serious things. And suddenly,
pop.
The switch.
The switch,
the light switch.
Yeah. That's what it is, because it's talk is cheap, right? So I keep on talking about these concepts, of all words are made up. And I had this I think something shifted, because it's kind of funny when you come from a lineage, what I'm saying. You're always, especially as a young speaker, well, I'm not young, but I'm talking about, before was awareness, consciousness, and everything. And then there was a resonance, I guess, with Tony and the crew and everything.
Sure, yes.
Right? Because it's I think there's more clarity there.
They have something there.
Yeah.
All of them.
But people start believing what's being said. It's almost like it became stagnant, it became stuck. When you keep on saying that there's no one here. It's the same thing as Muji saying you, and then the other Tony is saying no you.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, wait a second. Go in between.
What a brilliant stroke of luck, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
A flash of lightning came and knocked you on the ground.
Yeah.
And you got up and there it was.
Yeah.
And then you said, what? But I have nothing to do with this.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say too. And it's good just to be relatable and to be human, right? And because for some odd reason, the moment that their clarity kind of like happens, then all of a sudden you're up on a pedestal right away, instantly. The moment that you talk empty words or words or this and that, the moment that you come from and that you have an audience now, right? And everybody is looking up to you and holding on to every single word.
I was looking up to you. You were on one of my pedestals.
Oh, I'm glad that you knocked it off. Knock it off.
Yeah. I gave it a kick in the ass and smashed.
That's right. Kind of like what I say in my
I smashed it to pieces, not you.
Good. Kind of like what I say, right? Don't wait to get slapped by the master. Slap the master. Okay, and leave. Run.
If you see the Buddha walking down the street, kill him.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's like I did not want to be made into a master again, a guru, a teacher. The new word for guru is now speaker, by the way. right?
Yeah.
Because they have nothing to teach, but that's still a teaching if you look at it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it still goes in that merry-go-round of seeking, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's just stringing along, running around, trying to chase what's being said, but it's not about what's being said.
No.
Never.
It's about the no words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
you have this incredible power,
oh,
Emerson. It's been gifted to you.
Thank you.
You see, it's not yours anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's there, and it's great, huh? You've got it.
Oh, I'm just
How
happy. I'm just
wonderful.
happy to help, right?
Yeah.
Even if there's no one helping or whatever.
No.
Words again. But yeah, you know what? It's I just it's humbling.
Absolutely.
It's humbling. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
humbling.
Yeah.
It's powerful at the same time, right? Because
Mm.
I'm encountering people that are, some of them are at the end of their rope, right? Some of them have what I can't post are the most powerful ones because they're crying and they're telling stories
Yeah.
about the seeking becomes very, very, the seeking is suffering now, right?
Depression.
Because it's just and then they can't seem to sit down with anyone just to tell them it's okay. It's all right. It's going to be okay. But you just have to, it's almost like the addiction and seeking is being fed over and over again by teachers and speakers, and including myself, you know what I'm saying? But I'm readily here to admit it that what's in between you and I. Let's go meet there, right? The concept of you, the concept of I as a speaker, you as a seeker, and then let's all the words become alphabet soup and we eat it. We swirl it into that soup of the abyss.
Yeah, I like that. The abyss.
Yeah,
The
like the
void.
alphabet soup, you know what I'm saying? And we drink from the, we take from the same bowl. We eat all the words and then we laugh because it's like, oh, words are just like those, alphabetios, in those soup. It's nothing. It's just formations of something that can't be comprehended.
And yet the belief in all these words is suffering.
It is.
Because that's where the beliefs start, the belief in the words and the idea behind all the words and the hopes and wishes and dreams behind the words. And that is total suffering.
It is.
Yeah.
And I suffered so much in words, right? Because before I had anxiety, and when the anxiety was about to come on, then I would be like, okay, you know what? There's no me. There's no me. There's no me. Or I will say, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Or I will say, I don't know how many billions of times I've said all of those words, right? It was just nonstop, like the whole day. And I would be crying because I'm in so much agony. And then here I was a spiritual teacher before, and my tools were not working. One of my best friends said, you have all the tools, Emerson, you teach it. How come it? And I'm like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. No, it might work for a while, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there's going to be, it's almost like the drugs don't work anymore. When you've been, doing it for so long. And when the big stuff comes in, like the mortality of your mother, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or the idea of like being alone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's our own mortality, in fact.
Yeah.
It's the mother is just the reflection of our own problem.
Yeah.
In fact, we only have this one problem.
Yeah. That's what it is.
What identity or whatever you want.
The personal problem. The identity.
The person is the problem.
The person is the problem.
Yeah.
But it's just so.
I love the statement by Jean-Paul Sartre, the French philosopher. He said, they didn't say problems. He said, chaos is other people. But he should have said chaos is me.
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the I.
Is the I. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the invisible I. So who else? Who else have you met? I'm curious in your journey.
In my journey, I know all kinds of odds and bobs, all kinds of strange ones and less
Did
strange
you
ones.
have you met Nisargadatta?
Oh no, no, I'm
No,
not that old.
I
Or
know.
maybe I am. Maybe I
You
am.
could have,
I don't know.
because
I
during that
guess
time, I think it was in
I could.
you could, yeah, yeah, you
Yeah,
could. But you've met the Krishnamurtis. That's big, right?
yeah.
You were friends with, how was Yuji?
Yuji was a great fellow.
Yeah,
He used to, when people asked him, what is it actually that happened to you, Yuji? He would also give one answer. It's a calamity. That's all I can tell you.
yeah,
Because he still had quite a big streak of, if you want to call it, ego
yeah,
in him. Huh?
yeah,
But he was a very funny fellow.
yeah,
And he used to do all kinds of mad things. Like in the village where I live in the mountains in
yeah,
Switzerland, in a little village, the one that Krishnamurti came to.
yeah.
And Yuji also had a house here. And many people used to go and sit and listen to him. I did it once or twice. I couldn't do it more often,
Yeah,
although my wife loved it. And
yeah,
she
yeah,
went very often.
yeah,
And he got furious with someone, took a suitcase, which happened to be there in his little house, opened the window and threw it out. I thought that was very funny. He couldn't, she was too heavy to throw out the window, but he managed with a suitcase. He was that sort of person.
yeah,
Yeah, very
yeah.
direct.
Very direct, very, very rebellious, I guess, with
Very
establishments. Yeah,
rebellious, yeah. Right.
yeah. And but I think I think he was the opposite of the other Krishnamurti.
Oh,
Krishnamurti was,
totally.
yeah, was a gentleman, with a lot of beautiful words and
Yes.
just
And everyone respected.
yeah.
And he had these fantastic shoes on,
Oh wow.
always. Yeah. And a friend of mine with a similar name to his, an Indian,
Yeah,
also went to this, one of the top shoe makers in London. I don't know if they still exist.
yeah.
People who make shoes exactly for you.
Oh
And the
wow.
fellow had all these sort of shoe lasts. That's the wooden things that you make the shoe around,
Oh
that
yeah.
are the perfect formation of your foot. And the shoemaker said to him, "Sir, your shoe last is right next to Krishnamurti's."
Oh.
And these shoes were thousands of dollars a pair.
Oh
Yes,
wow.
he was the perfect gentleman.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. He used to
Oh
stay in a house here in this village of a very, very rich Italian lady. And he
wow.
would sit on the balcony in the sun, and you would visit him, and you really felt like you would have to crawl in on all fours, and never turn your back on him. When you left him, you should crawl out again, keeping your face towards him,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was quite amusing.
I remember before, because I also had a lineage and um, did all of the reverence to like all of the
Mm,
gurus from the past,
mm, mm.
and and
But it upset you, I guess,
there was
or
this
not?
rebellious
Or did you feel like you deserved it?
well, in between. There was this reverence in the beginning, and just buying everything that I said, whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes, because I came to a place when I was in my late 20s that I had everything. I
Mm,
had a house, I had
mm,
the house, the dog, and the partner,
mm, mm,
and then there was something missing, and of course I got the enlightenment bug, right?
mm.
And I'm like, whatever it takes.
That was it. That's what you
Sold
were
my
known for.
house, sold my house,
Mm.
went from being kind of like, being selfless service, which is the karma part, did the
Yeah.
bhakti part, which is basically devotion, and then
Yeah.
did the jnani part. So I did all of that. I'm like, okay, which one is it that will lead me
Yeah.
into enlightenment? I had this giant kundalini glimpse, awakening, whatever you might want to call it.
Okay.
And then I served people for quite a while, right? For quite a while. But again, I got to a point, I'm like, when you reach the pinnacle again, when you reach the summit, you're like, this is not what I wanted.
No.
No, this is not what I want. This is just more. This is just, I should have been rich instead. I even thought about one time, right?
There's no
Because
difference.
there's no difference.
Oh, that happened to me a little bit
Yeah,
after my first introductions to Krishnamurti.
yeah,
I thought the answer is to give everything away. And I was living in this big house in
yeah.
Paris, and I sold it,
Oh,
and I went to live in a little hut,
yeah,
and of course that's all a joke too.
yeah,
Actually, most of the things we 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 do in life, it's
yeah,
part of the joke, part of the dream,
yeah. It
and in
is.
the
It
end,
is.
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
Rich house, no house.
because I went from rich house, and there's something missing, and then I became a teacher, and I'm like, everybody's still suffering here. No one's getting out.
Yeah,
What am I doing? I'm still suffering. So
yeah,
what's my business
yeah,
teaching this? And I
yeah.
just went rebellious, like almost like Yuji, and basically admitted that this is all a fraud. Like I went my Yuji
Yeah,
face. I went from the first Yuji, the first Krishnamurti, I'm saying, of
yeah,
like reverence, and
yeah.
you can't have your feet facing the teacher, that all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
um and just going with purifications, and that, as if you have to deserve liberation, so you self-flagellate yourself, kind of like the Roman Catholics, because I'm
Yes,
grew up as a Roman Catholic. I'm like, this is the same,
yes, yes,
right? This is just another belief.
yeah.
And at the same time, you hold on to it until you can, and then something breaks again. You're like, okay, this is not it. What am I doing here? At least I was brutally honest with myself,
Yeah.
even if I was felt like I was lying to everybody, because I
Mm.
was regurgitating words that did not make sense, that did not, it was just all concepts,
But
and
it's still all concepts. It
it's all
hasn't
concepts.
changed.
It doesn't change.
Words don't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And
Stories don't make sense.
yeah,
They're fun.
yeah, they're
They're not
fun.
fun,
I do love
depending on the
words.
story.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Even when I was saying all of those words, right? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? But I still started noticing that people were closing their eyes while I was doing all of these talks,
oh
as
yeah,
if they were in bliss, and they were like, oh,
right.
thank goodness. I'm like, am I just another drug lord here, like dealing words, and
And
even if
the
it's the
funny,
most radical expression of this, right? Said, I
uh,
have I have gone from that other Krishnamurti of
mm,
beautiful words about, you know
and everything.
awareness and consciousness, and
Mm.
and you, the I am,
He
all
said
of that
something which
stuff.
he said something. There's still things he said which sound marvelous, and I
Oh
still
yeah,
can't
yeah,
work out. He said,
yeah,
in every right question, the answer already is.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Does that mean something?
Not really.
Not to me.
That we know.
And then but it impressed me, and it's wise, what we
Yeah,
call wisdom. But
and
behind all this wisdom, anyway, his and everyone else's, there's nothing.
innocence always wants to, when what happens when you listen to a lot of teachers and speakers is that
Mm.
that innocence of being almost like submissive happens, right? That someone that has the authority, and you long for authority, because
Yes,
it's inherent, I guess, in a lot of people, because we grow up looking for fathers and
that's it.
mothers.
We're
Yeah,
we're born believing, not born, but when we go to school, we believe experts are the answers to everything.
That's right. So now you
All
have
the
an expert
experts.
saying it's
The
negating
expert will
everything.
tell you about everything and anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just
But
looking for
then,
another expert. Yeah.
for example, another saying of Krishnamurti, which impressed me, but it didn't quite go far enough. He would say, knowledge is ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds great.
Sounds
Not
great.
knowing is the beginning of wisdom.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
But I'm not interested in the beginning of wisdom.
No,
I
no.
want it now,
And
now.
yeah.
He won't give it to you. He
No,
can't give it to
no.
you. Nor can
Uh,
you. You can't give it to me either.
No, no. No one
Actually,
can give it.
there's no wisdom.
There's no one. There's no wisdom.
Wisdom is crap anyway.
So when the words click and pop and then vanish, and you're like, I'll be damned. And then there's this peace that you can't understand. So all the words that come just become fruit flies, so that doesn't really bother you. Sometimes you go like this, you know what I'm saying? Right? But
that's good. What surprises me in you is that you have so many friends and you can talk and chat, and I mean that's your character. Huh? That's what's been given to you. You're friendly, you're easygoing. People like you. You like people. Food is a big subject with you and all your friends. That's great. It's not that I envy you on that, but I'm the reverse.
Oh,
for me, there's three kinds of people for me.
Yeah.
5, 10, and 20, I call them.
Okay.
People I can be with for 5 minutes, people I can be with for 10 minutes, and people I can be with for 20 minutes. And that's it. With exceptions. Emerson, of course. You're an exception.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
There are.
Yeah.
But you see, total different personalities.
Yeah.
And yet we can still chat together and joke about all this rubbish that we've been led to believe in.
Yeah, there was always something about hierarchies that even as a young kid bothered me, because I'm the eldest of 5 kids. So in the Philippines, they'll call you Kuya, which basically makes you like older brother. So everybody called me Kuya.
That's a serious title. Huh?
It's a serious title. One time my beautiful aunt, I love her, my Auntie Dina was dating this man, my Uncle Chuck. And my Auntie Dina goes, you have to meet Kuya. So Uncle Chuck was all nervous and everything. Goes, oh my goodness, I'm meeting her older brother now. So here I come. Kuya's going to come with us on our dates, right? Because I'm the chaperone, right? So
oh really?
Yeah. But I was this like 7-year-old kid, right? So I came out of the room, and then my Uncle Chuck just started laughing, and my Auntie Dina goes, I didn't know that, we call him Kuya because he's so that the younger brothers can get used to calling him Kuya. So everybody calls him Kuya.
To respect him.
Yeah.
Did they respect you?
They did. But I just wanted to be a kid. I just wanted to be treated like everybody else, not someone from a pedestal. So even from a very young age, I did not like that position. When we came to Canada, we were born in the Philippines, my brothers and my sister. I told them, drop the Kuya. We're all equals here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And how old were you then? 10
15,
or 11?
15. 15.
15.
15, yeah.
That's pretty wise.
Yeah.
You see, flashes of wisdom. I'm sure everyone has flashes of wisdom.
Yeah.
And many of us brush it off like flies, and others, it sits.
And so,
it was sitting.
So when I became a teacher, I was a Kuya again. I'm like, I didn't like this when I was 15. Everybody's calling me, whatever. I'm like the dad now. They call you Papa now or whatever. Like, you become the father again. But I just see everyone as children equally, right? Innocent children that they're dreaming that they have been seeking for 50 years.
Yes.
Because you know what? It's just a thought. Child, sound like it's an adult and everything.
Yeah.
And I like the joy and the fun, right? And one of the thing that I love doing the most is playing music for people.
Yeah.
And as a DJ, right? You see people become kids again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the lost child, you know what I'm saying?